We're back in the vault. We've had to use some jackhammers to dig up some of these great memories of Pistol Pete Maravich, and the one coming up from the Superdome is in black and white and will remind everyone why the Jazz are called the Jazz. With Hall of Famer Earl the Pearl Monroe, this is a player who did all sorts of amazing things with the basketball, a lot like you. You must have been very competitive with him. You must have had a very strong opinion of him.
Well, our careers kind of parallel each other. When I was in North Carolina at Winston-Salem, he was in high school down there, and his father was his coach. And the guy who supposedly nicknamed him Pistol Pete is supposedly named me Earl the Pearl. So really? I don't know how true that is, but that's what I hear.
Let's go with it.
But we still did the same type of things. The year that I averaged over 40 points, my senior year in college, he averaged 40-some points in his freshman year in college. So we've had a career that kind of paralleled each other. And when he came into the league, we all knew that he had a lot of hype with him, but Pistol backed it up. He was a guy who practiced and practiced and practiced, and the type of things that he did, wasn't all just from natural ability, but because he practiced and he understood that practice made perfect.
What about winning? What about that didn't he get?
Well, unfortunately, when you're on a big-time guy like that and you're on bad teams, you're not going to win a lot. And that kind of followed him throughout his career, even up until the Celtics. He was playing on his last year with the Celtics.
This game that we're going to see where he scores 68 points. Do you remember it well?
I can't forget it. Everybody else remembers it. This was a game where Pistol just shot out of his head. He was behind the backboard. He was shooting over the backboard. He was falling down shooting. And, Clyde being a great defensive player, I started off on, I tell him, Pistol only scored 6 points on me. He got the rest on you and Butch Beer. So Clyde always says, okay, I'll keep that in the back of my mind. But, Pistol was just a great competitor. And is a little anecdote here. I took Pistol with me to China in 1984, and that's when I really got to know him. And I think a lot of times as players get to play against each other, they don't really know each other. And I think that everybody that plays against each other should take a trip together so they'll get to know it. He's a great guy.
Pistol Pete Maravich scores 68 points. And by the way, these memories that we have in the vault, they're so random. We don't know why this tape was saved, but it was. And the tape that was saved was in black and white. Knicks, New Orleans Jazz, Pistol Pete in a starring role.
Tonight from the Superdome in New Orleans, the Knicks face the New Orleans Jazz. Good evening, everyone. I'm Andy Musser along with Cal Ramsey here in the Superdome, and tonight the Knicks are facing the New Orleans Jazz, and of course that spells Pete Maravich. He had the biggest single game of anybody against the Knicks this year, 39 points. Who's going to stop him, Cal?
I don't know who's going to stop him, but I think Clyde might get the assignment. Maravich playing great basketball, particularly here at home. But Walt Frazier's come along for New York in recent ball games. He's playing very strong defense, and he's scoring well. That should be the matchup to watch tonight. Frazier against Pete Maravich.
There's the Pistol. He has really had some outstanding games against the Knicks. One time last year, the Pistol pumped in 45 in a double overtime game last year. Otto Moore and Bob McAdoo to jump it up. Don Murphy to put the ball in the air, and we are underway as Frazier wins the tip. So the Knicks play it, and Frazier goes in underneath Maravich, pass it back between the legs of McAdoo, and picked up by McElroy and up to Maravich. Pistol down to McElroy, drives the baseline. A reach around is hung short. Tom McMillan gets the rebound. And Cal, you said he was in there to give the Knicks some extra power on the board.
Yes, Tommy's a very good offensive rebounder.
Here's Tommy Mack with the ball, giving it back to Monroe. Pearl starts down the middle, feeds to the baseline. A Tom McMillan jump shot is good, and the Knicks break on top 2-0.
You know that Tommy's a real good shooter once he gets himself set out there. He got a good pass from Monroe that time and a real good shooting position.
James McElroy in and out of the starting lineup for New Orleans this year, but back in since the injury to Freddie Boyd, and he's going to have surgery on a right knee in just a couple of days. That shot would not fall for Moore. And here come the Knicks. Frazier on the dribble against McElroy, a fine defensive guard. McAdoo pitches back to Monroe and gets it back to Big Bob. Here's his shot over Otto Moore, and he is hit.
Well, Knicks did a lot of switching on defense in that game against Atlanta, and I'm sure it's that again this evening because they set a lot of picks out there for Pete Maravich.
McElroy fakes the stutter move. Here is a pass off from To the baseline, that is good by the Pistol as he gets his first field goal and a foul on Tom McMillan.
Well, that time Pistol moving without the basketball. He comes along the baseline. Clyde gets caught behind the screen. You'll watch here. McMillan switches over to help out. McAdoo switches over to help out. And the foul is called. I didn't see who hit him, but they called the foul.
And the free throw was good. So that's a three-point play for Maravich. Here's Frazier's shot. It is no good. And Otto Moore gets the board.
Knicks shooting cold right now. They're getting very good shots, but they're not falling for them.
Clyde almost gets a steal at midcourt. Here's a Maravich bomb, and it's good. Pistol Pete. And he's got 5 points already, and New Orleans now by 3 at 7-4. 7 straight points for New Orleans, and a foul on Bob McAdoo as the Knicks give it up. Offensive foul.
McAdoo called for moving when he set a pick along the baseline. That's 2 personal fouls on him already.
McElroy studies a drive and moves on it. His reach around is good. And 9 straight points have been scored by New Orleans. It's a 9-4 New Orleans lead, and Red Holzman will take a timeout. With 8:41 left in the first quarter, the score now, the Jazz 9 and the Knicks 4.